Hello guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we will see what will happen when DC superheroes will fight Marvel superheroes. But before moving to the topic, please subscribe the channel for more such content. So let's get back. The concept of DC superheroes fighting Marvel superheroes has been a long-standing topic of debate and discussion among comic book fans for decades. Both DC and Marvel have created a vast array of popular and iconic characters, each with their unique strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. While it's difficult to provide a definitive answer as to who would come out on top in such a hypothetical scenario, we can explore some of the possible outcomes and scenarios. Firstly, it's important to note that both DC and Marvel have different approaches to their superhero characters. DC tends to create characters with godlike abilities, while Marvel superheroes are often more grounded and relatable, with more human-like strengths and weaknesses. This can make it difficult to compare and contrast the two universes directly, as their power levels and abilities are not necessarily consistent. One possible scenario for a DC vs. Marvel superhero fight would involve pitting two similar characters against each other. For example, we could imagine Superman DC fighting against the Hulk Marvel. In this scenario, Superman's speed, strength, and invulnerability would give him a significant advantage, but the Hulk's durability and regenerative abilities could potentially make the fight a drawn-out affair. It's possible that the fight could end in a stalemate, with neither hero able to overcome the other's strengths. Another possible scenario could involve a team-up between the two universes' superheroes. In this case, we could imagine the Justice League DC joining forces with the Avengers Marvel to fight a common enemy. This scenario would be less about individual fights and more about teamwork and strategy. Each character's unique abilities would come into play, and they would have to work together to overcome the enemy's strengths and weaknesses. This scenario would likely require more planning and coordination than a simple one-on-one fight, as the heroes would need to leverage their abilities in creative ways to achieve their objectives. It's also worth considering how the two universes' villains would fit into this hypothetical scenario. DC and Marvel both have a vast array of memorable and iconic villains, each with their unique abilities and strengths. If the villains were to team up and work together, the heroes would face an even more significant challenge. For example, we could imagine Darkseid DC teaming up with Thanos Marvel to take on the combined forces of the Justice League and the Avengers. In this scenario, the heroes would need to find a way to overcome the villains' overwhelming strength and firepower, possibly by exploiting their weaknesses or finding a way to turn them against each other. Ultimately, the outcome of a DC vs. Marvel superhero fight would depend on a variety of factors, including the characters involved, the setting, and the circumstances surrounding the conflict. It's also worth considering that the two universes have very different tones and styles, which could make it difficult to create a cohesive crossover story that would satisfy fans of both franchises. One of the most significant challenges of a DC vs. Marvel superhero fight is balancing the characters' abilities and strengths. Both universes have characters with almost godlike abilities, such as Superman, Wonder Woman, and Thor, who can easily overpower most opponents. At the same time, both universes also have more grounded characters, such as Batman and Black Widow, who rely on their intelligence and skill rather than raw power. Finding a way to make all of these characters feel relevant and important in a crossover story would be a significant challenge. Another challenge would be deciding which universe's rules and continuity to follow. DC and Marvel both have their own unique histories and storylines, which can make it difficult to create a crossover that makes sense within both universes. One possible solution would be to create an alternate universe or timeline where the two universes exist side by side, allowing for more creative freedom and exploration of character interactions and conflicts. One potential solution to balancing the characters' abilities and strengths could be to introduce some kind of external threat that requires all of the heroes to work together. For example, we could imagine an alien invasion or a supernatural threat that is too powerful for any individual hero to defeat alone. In this scenario, the heroes would need to use their unique abilities and skills to work together to defeat the enemy, allowing each character to have a moment to shine. Another approach to addressing the challenge of balancing the characters could be to pair them up based on their strengths and weaknesses. For example, we could imagine Batman and Iron Man working together, using their intelligence and technology to outsmart their opponents. Meanwhile, Superman and Thor could team up, using their strength and godlike powers to take on the toughest foes. This approach could create interesting dynamics between the characters and allow for creative team-ups that fans may not have seen before. Another challenge in a DC vs. Marvel crossover would be deciding which universe's rules and continuity to follow. Both DC and Marvel have complex histories and storylines, and deciding which elements to include and which to leave out could be a daunting task. One possible solution could be to create a separate continuity or timeline specifically for the crossover event, allowing for more creative freedom while still remaining true to both universes' core concepts. Another potential challenge could be fan expectations. Both DC and Marvel have passionate fan bases who have certain expectations for their favorite characters. Some fans may be resistant to seeing their favorite heroes portrayed in a way that differs from the source material. However, by staying true to the core concepts of each universe and respecting the characters' histories and personalities, it may be possible to create a crossover that satisfies fans of both franchises. In conclusion, a DC vs. Marvel superhero fight is a fascinating and complex concept that would require careful planning and execution to be successful. While it's impossible to predict the exact outcome of such a hypothetical scenario, there are many possible outcomes and scenarios to explore. By balancing the characters' strengths, respecting the core concepts of each universe, and finding creative ways to bring the heroes together, it may be possible to create a crossover that satisfies fans of both DC and Marvel. So guys, that's all for today. If you like the video, please like and share it. And don't forget to subscribe the channel. See you next time. Till then, take care.